A ball is dropped to the ground from height of 20 meters. It rebounded to the height of 5 meters. If the ball was in contact with the ground for 0.02 seconds, find the acceleration. So let's draw the diagram first. Let's say this is a ball which is being dropped from the height of 20 meters from the ground. So this is the height 20 meter and it is being dropped. Let's say this is my origin O. I will denote it by O dash because this also looks like O. So this is O dash and it rebounds to the height of 5 meter. So this is the height 5 meter from the ground. This is the origin. Now let's take our upward direction as positive and the downward direction as negative, and let's take G as 10 meter per second square, and it will be minus because it is pointing downwards. Now they have asked us to find the acceleration of the ball. Now it is mentioned that it was for 0.02 seconds it was in contact with the ground. Now the two velocities to be considered of the ball in that time interval are this downward velocity when it just reaches the ground and the upward velocity when it is rebounding. So these two velocities are to be considered, and then from that we have to calculate the acceleration. Now let's calculate these two velocities. Let's calculate the velocity v1. The velocity v1 is the velocity of this ball when it just reaches the ground. So it will be v1 is equal to, I will write here v1 when just reaches the ground. V1 square is equal to u1 square minus 2 into 10 into s, where s is the displacement. V1 square we have to find out. U1 is 0 because it is simply dropped, minus 2 into 10 into s. Now what is the displacement? Displacement is final position minus initial position. Final position is origin, so this is final, minus initial. Initial is 20, so it is 0 minus 20. So v1 square becomes this minus 2 into 10 into minus 20. So this is 20 into 20. This minus and minus becomes plus. So this is v1 square. So v1 is nothing but 20 meter per second. So v1 we got, it is 20 meter per second. Now we have to find another velocity v2, that is when the ball rebounds. So let's say that velocity is v2. It reaches 5 meter from the top, from the bottom, that is from the ground. It reaches 5 meter above. So that means our v2 square, if we take v2 dash square as the final velocity, it will be 0 because it has at the top it will be the 0 velocity. So v2 dash square is equal to v2 square minus 2as, because minus 2 into 10 s, because g is in the negative direction. So this v2 dash square is 0, which is the final velocity, that is when the ball reaches at the top, and this is v2 square that we have to find out, minus 2 into 10 into 5 minus 0, because 5 is the final position and 0 is the initial. So this is 100. 5 10 into 2 is 20, 20 into 5 is 100, so this is 100. So v2 square is equal to 100. So v2 becomes 10 meter per second. This is your v2, and v1 is 20 meter per second. Now the ball was in contact with the ground for 0.02 seconds. Let me draw a diagram over here. The ball came like this. The ball came like this and hit the ground, and it was in contact with the ground for 0.02 seconds, and then it changed its velocity upwards, like it was coming down with this velocity v1, and after 0.02 seconds, in that time span, it changed its velocity to 10 meter per second in the upward direction. That means the total change in velocity is v2 minus v1. What is v2? v2 is minus 10 because it is in the down direction, and v2 is plus 20, so it is minus 20. So you see the acceleration will be divided by 0.02. So this will be minus 30 divided by 0.02 meter per second square. So the acceleration is in the the final velocity is v2, which is not minus 10, it is indeed plus 10, and v1 is minus 20. So minus of minus, let me correct it over here only. So the final velocity is 10 meter per second. The initial velocity is 20, so it is minus 20 meter per second divided by 0.02 seconds. So this is 10 plus 20, which is 30 meter per second divided by 0.02 seconds. So this becomes 30 into 100 divided by 2 meter per second square, which is 15,000 meter per second square. No, sorry, 1500. It will be 1500 meter per second square. So this is the acceleration, and this is positive, and hence it is in the upward direction. Now one of the common mistakes that students do is they take v2 as the final velocity and 0 as the initial velocity, which is not correct, because the time span that we have been given is this 0.02 seconds. So this is the time span that we have been given, and in that time span the ball changes its speed as well as its direction. That is, its velocity is changed in that time span, and hence we will take this time interval in the denominator. Now if we calculate it for some another time interval, let's say half of this time interval, that is 0.01 seconds, and then you can take the initial velocity to be 0, because in this time interval or the time span, 0.01 second is smaller than this 0.02 second time span, and at the start of this time span the object was already in with the contact of the ground, and hence I can take u as a initial velocity to be 0. But this is not the case, because we are considering only this time interval 0.02 seconds.